Hello everyone, welcome to Lighthouse Stamping with Lorraine. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Vancouver, Washington. Thank you for joining me today. Before we get started, the housekeeping notes. All the product I use and all the dimensions will be listed below. There's a link to my online store if you'd like to purchase any of these products. There is my email address if you have any questions. And there is a link to our Facebook group. We'd love to have you join that. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe and help me grow in YouTube world. We are going to be playing with a new suite that is coming out on September 6th in the mini catalog, and it's called Them Bones. And I'm going to show you all the parts of the suite. We're using most of them, not all. The suite has a bundle. It's called Bag of Bones, and there is 23 stamps in this set. And I'm going to grab my glasses as usual. I haven't put them on yet. I'm fine till I have to read something. Anyhow, it's got some cute little verses in here. Halloween, bonjour. No bones about it, you're still a sweet friend. Boo to you. Eat, shriek, and be scared. And there's got some little hats, some flowers, hearts, bats. Got a dog and a cat, body parts. And there is a die set in here. The Bag of Bones dies. Now, I've already pulled out the ones we're going to be using today, but there's little stars and a moon and shoes and hats and a fence and a little guitar and several different kinds of hats, boots, just a little thing with lots of bones. And so you can build any kind of little skeleton you want with that. And so that's that part. Let's set that off to the side. Then there is some glow-in-the-dark paper. And yes, this paper it's got a texture to it, and it does glow in the dark. I left them out, the paper in the dark, in the light, and then I took it into my bathroom with no light on to see if it really did glow. And yes, it does glow. Unfortunately, I've tried to figure out how to do it in here when I'm filming, and I just can't make it do it because the cameras just have too much light. So this is the glow-in-the-dark 6x6 specialty paper. This is the one thing we're not using today. Let's set that off to the side. And there is some embellishments, little bats and ghosts. And this is called Glow in the Dark Bats and Ghosts. And yes, they do glow in the dark. Once you get them in, after they've been in the light and they get into a dark area, they do glow. And we'll be using them today. I'll set him over there. Then there's the paper, which is a lot of fun. And I'm going to thumb through here. You get 2 of each sheet. And then it's a diagonal, but it's on a slant. This one's very cute. It's got a bunch of headstones and bats and stuff. And this is one to be cut up. And then we have, I didn't show you the back of this one. It's bats. Turn them around here. They can stare at you the right way. And this one says boo and eek. Then we have some dancing skeletons and some bats. And some gray bone paper. Some little tombstones and nice Halloween plaid. And these actually can be cut out with the dies. I'll show you one of them. This is the large skeleton die. And they do cut out like that. And the cats and the dogs do the same thing. There's the cat. And there's the little dog. So if you want to just cut them out of the paper, you could. And then we have, they're like bats. The paper colors in this pack are black, Cajun Craze, Pumpkin Pie, and Starry Sky. So it's a lot of fun to play with. So that is the suite. So let me set this off to the side. And let me show you what we're going to be making today. We have a little dog skeleton on this one. He's done in black because I did it on white, so I had to have to show up. And this is our card. And this card was inspired by a video I seen by Sam Colcutt, mixed up paper crafts out of the UK, this design. She did not use the same stamp set or anything. She did a 6x6 card and a 5x7 card, I believe. And I wanted one that would be for a day 2, like we normally use here in the States. So anyhow, it has a little belly band. And there's that little ghost I was telling you about. And it opens up this way. And this is the inside of the card, and it stands up this direction. You can sort of see them glowing a little bit, but not much. They do glow a little bit, even in the light. And then the back looks like this. Disregard the thumbprint right there. This is to write your message. Now, this card can fold up the way we did with the front panel and the belly band, or you could actually do the card as this being the front of your card and send the card this way without a belly band. It's your call. But I liked it with a belly band and standing up this way. And so I'm going to show you how I made this and give you all the dimensions for an A2 size. So that is our project today. So to get started, we are going to go ahead and do some embossing. Now the front of this, I don't know if you can tell, this is embossed in silver, and all of these pieces are embossed in white. You could use your white crafting, but I wanted something darker than my white crafting could afford. So before we get started, let me get this off the way out of here. And let's go over the parts we're going to need. And there is quite a few. And the white mat's here for a reason. If I put the black on here, you can't see it on my mat. This is 8.5 by 5.5. I'm going to show you how we score that one. Of course, we have an envelope. Set that off to the side. We have 2 pieces of basic white, 2 by 5 3/8. And like I said, all the dimensions will be listed below. Piece of black that is 10 by 1/2 inch. This is Smoky Slate, and that is 1 3/4 by 2 3/4. We have a piece of basic gray that is 2.5 by 4. Like I said, there is a lot of dimensions on this. This is a piece of basic black that is 6.5 by 3, and this is to make the other part of our base. A whole bunch of scrap black, which we are going to be needing in a minute. There is a piece of pumpkin, 2 pieces of pumpkin pie that are 3 1/8 by 2 7/8. And then we have 2 pieces of Cajun Craze that are 3 by 2 3/4. And I have already, hold that up there, embossed this with the 3D embossing folders. I used the one with all the checks on it. I thought it would add some texture to it. But any embossing folder, if you wanted to add some texture, would be nice. Then you need 2 pieces for the front of your card that are 2 by 5 3/8. Now I went for the sheet that had the picture on the front, and I cut them out. So Ricky Them Bones and the sky was the front of my card. So you got 2 of those, but you can use any pattern you want. You use for any stamp set. It doesn't have to be this one. And these, you need 4 of these. These are for the inside, and that is 2 inches by 5 3/8. And I've actually got them numbered because I have them set. So if I cut, like, I don't know if you can see it, there's a little part of the bat on this one. So the bat lines up in the inside, and it's up, one up here too. I just like doing that, but you don't have to. That's just me. So those are all the basic pieces we're going to need for this card. So we're going to keep out everything we need to stamp and or emboss. So we are going to keep out the Smoky Slate, the 2 pieces of white. I'm going to put these all away for the moment. The envelope and the extra scrap black we're going to keep out. You're going to need probably a little more than a 1/4 sheet of black. So let's do the stuff that is going to be just stamped in black ink first. And where did I put this? These are photopolymer. Hang on, my mat's peeling up here. So, and I got my Memento, and we are going to go ahead and put a skeleton on one. Oh. I'm actually going to take the ink to him. I'll make sure he's good and covered. And put him down in this corner here. Is. That's one. And then I want to grab the little bat. There's a little tiny bat here. And I'll put 3 little bats at the top here. I'm going to get rid of this piece of paper before I have ink all over it. I have 3 little bats there. And then for the envelope, the first one I did a doggy. I think this one we're going to go ahead and do the kitty. Like that. So that's all the stamping with the black ink. Now I'm going to grab my Stampin' scrub and clean these off really quick. So we are ready to do some embossing. We're going to do it in 2 sections, the silver section and then the white section. Make sure we don't get our, I think I got a little too much moisture on my Stampin' scrub this morning. So on this little piece of Smoky Slate, we are going to be stamping Boo to You, and we're going to be doing that in Versamark. So let me get all my stuff out and I grab my silver, and I got my heat gun at the ready, and I have that if I need it. Okay, so take your want to make sure you got this good and covered so it doesn't get anything. And Versamark. I didn't grab the Versamark. Just a moment. Of course, I have to forget something. It wasn't far. And I don't really care if this is straight or not, but I do want it in the middle because we're going to die cut this in a minute. My silver embossing powder right here. And there's that one all ready to go. We're going to just set that off to the side for a moment and get rid of the silver. Now you can make your skeleton silver if you wanted. Oh dear. Hang on for one moment. I have ink all over me. And if I don't get that off me right now, we are going to have a mess. And we don't want a mess. Hey, what's it if we don't get some ink all over? Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and do our skeletons of our dog, our cat, and the Happy Halloween. Like I said, you need about a 1/4 sheet. You should be able to get them all on there. Give it a good pounce. I do like to take and tap off a little of that. It's okay. And we are going to stamp in Versamark. I'm going to do the person skeleton first. Put him right here. do the puppy dog. Like that. And we'll do the little kitty. And finally, the Happy Halloween. I'm just turning this around the other side here. Okay. Make sure my Versamark is closed and out of the way. I'm going to grab a couple pieces of white paper. I do not have my white in a tub. I only have my metallics in the tubs. I tend to use them more. And this is just your white basic embossing powder. Make sure we have everybody covered. Give it a little jiggle. And there's a little line there, but I'm not worried about it because we're going to cut these all out. Now I'm going to go back in here on a couple of these. I'll make sure I've got plenty of embossing powder on there. Yeah, a little darker. We'll set that off to the side. And if you have your little embossing tray, use it. I'm still looking for mine. I have a feeling that it accidentally ended up in the stuff that went out to Goodwill. Because I've gone through all the boxes now in the garage and unloaded them, and I still didn't find it. So now we have to heat set all these. And I'll turn my gun on. Be a little loud for a second. Doesn't take long. Give it a once over to make sure I've got all the little pieces done. You don't want to sit your heat over it too long because you will actually burn the embossing powder and cause it to dissolve. That's what happens to it. Now that I'm done embossing, I've had a ceiling fan on in here, but I turned it off. So I'm going to step away for just a second and turn that ceiling fan back on. I'm filming this the Saturday before you're seeing it, and it's about 8 o'clock in the morning, and it's already about 82 degrees in my room. My room does not have air conditioning, so I try to get done early in the morning. So what we need to do is some die cutting now. Now you will need a big cut and emboss machine if you want to emboss those Cajun Craze pieces I did. But the rest of it can be cut out on your little cut and emboss machine. And I'm going to grab me some snips. Just take these apart a little bit. And grab me some plates. And some little bit of tape. Really try to, I'm actually going to put these on my pants, trying to de-stickify it a little more than normal. And these line up really nicely. something in there to hold it. Oh, please don't stick to my work. That stuff is still too sticky. And then we get our nice little skeleton here, a little man. And now we have the dog and the cat. Now the Happy Halloween, there's no die to cut that out, so we're going to be fussy cutting him. But we do need to cut out the Boo to You, which is part of a headstone I'm going to build. Ah, there's our little dog. And a little cat. Now, this headstone that I'm going to be doing, we're going to actually cut a second piece. This is the large headstone, and it doesn't cut out this center piece, but I wanted to put this piece in the center this way. So, this is the small one. This is the piece that's going to cut out our Boo to You. Like I said, I don't care if it's straight. I actually want it crooked. I don't want anything straight. There's the Boo to You. Just setting everything in a little pile here as we cut stuff out. So we have a little bit more die cutting to do. These are things we did not stamp. Next is the basic gray. That was the 2.5 by 4 inch piece. That is going to cut out the rest of our headstone. Text, detail in that headstone. We're going to make that stand out a little bit more too. And finally, the last thing we need to die cut is some bats. Now, what I did is I've taken our adhesive sheets. They come in a package like this. You just peel them off. I was going to show you, but I actually have enough here. I just put on a piece of it. This one I started without it, and then I went to the adhesive sheets. We need 2 sets of bats. That'll give us 6 bats, and there's a little die here. Looks like that, and there's 3 little bats. So if I set this on here correctly, just use a little piece of tape. We cut these out twice. We'll have 6 bats with sticky on them. Yeah, I first started without the sticky, and it really does make a difference. You can do it with glue. I did the first one on the front with glue. The second one, I got the sticky out. And so I would recommend using sticky paper if you have it. And my pokey tool here. One of the bats is stuck. And I got 2. There is 3 bats. Now I'm actually going to set them in my magnetic bowl over here since they're so small. And we are going to cut one more batch of bats. Maybe if I don't throw it off there. be the end of our die cutting. There's one. And the other two are stuck in here. You just have to take a little pokey tool and pop them out. And come right out. And there's the other two. Put that away. Throw that and this away. And put a little cranky away. We do need to fussy cut this piece out. And like I said, I'm not going to get very fancy with it because I don't want it fancy. I don't care if anything's straight or, you know, just sort of following the words around. Just like that. Like I said, I didn't want anything straight. I just wanted nice and easy. Okay, so that is all the pieces we need to build the card. So let's start making this card. First, you're going to need the two pieces of black, the 8.5 by 5.5 and the 6.5 by 3. And you're going to need either a cutting or a scoring board. I'm going to go ahead and use my cutting board. Like I said, all these measurements will be listed below. On the 8.5 inch side, you are going to score at 2 1/8, 4 1/4, 4 1/4, and then you're going to score at 5 3/8. Now, if you have this particular model of trimmer, 5 3/8 is right about there, give or take a little bit. Do it the easy way. Turn the card around and score at 2 1/8 again. It's just easier than trying to count all these little pieces in the brown. It's just my opinion. If you want to count it, you can, but turning it works really well. Now, the 6.5 by 3 inch piece, we are going to score in half at 3 1/4. Okay. So we have those. So we're going to go ahead and fold and burnish everybody. So you have a nice W, just like that. Okay. So now you have to decide what's going to be the front of your card or the back of your card. These are all been scored, so it doesn't matter. You have to decide. So I'm going to make this piece right here my front, and this is going to be my back. So on the front of my card, this is where I'm using these two pieces. One says Ricky D. Bones. That's going to be the front of my card. Use your adhesive of choice. You have 1/8, very tiny 1/8 margins on this card. And then the other piece. just like that. Now I'm going to flip it over and put my back on, which is the 2 white pieces we stamped. Once you get all your pieces made, whatever you're going to put on the card, it doesn't have to be this set, it could be any other set. And I may visit this with one of the Christmas sets. I was looking at it, and that was might work really good with one of those. I believe she called this a pop-out panel card. I guess I'm going to keep the same name of it. I'm going to write that down too. So I was trying to think what a good name would be for it. And she was one of the first one I seen do this. And somebody else may come from somebody else. I don't know. But that's the one I seen. So there's the front and back of our card. Now it's time to do the inside. And like I said, if you want your pattern to continue, I started with the first one and then I put numbers on the others. And these bats are directional, so you want to make sure your bats are not upside down if you use this particular one. And this whole set is available on September 6th. Unless you want to become a demonstrator, then you could join my team and put this in your starter kit and get it now. And if you are interested in that, please drop me an email and we will talk. You can see how I like the bats to line up, because you do see some of them. Now, I found this card it's easier to build it in 2 sections. Well, actually it's 3 sections. The front is a separate section. But to build these 2 panels separately than trying to put it together. When it's, because you're going to have the pieces on there and it'll be bent up and stuff, it's easier to assemble those pieces before you attach them. That's what I'm trying to say. I think this one might be getting a little low. But you know me, we use it until every drop's gone. So there's the inside portion so far. And that's our card so far. Okay, we'll set that over there for a second. And we're going to grab the inside piece. Now, it could go either in or out, because when you put this in, it can fold this way, it'll fold out this way. It's whatever you want. But I want to decorate mine first. And this is where the pumpkin pie pieces and the Cajun, and I embossed mine. You don't have to. I just thought adding that extra texture looked really cool. And they go on like that. Make sure I got the right pieces going in the right directions. Yeah. Now, I should tell you, this card is very dimensional and it will require extra postage. So it's a nice one to be hand carried to somebody. I mean, you can, I am using dimensionals on quite a bit. I think it's time to get a different bottle of glue. Let that one drain down a little bit. You could put less dimensionals, but just the overall bulk of this card will require more postage without adding dimensionals. So just thought I'd mention that. I'm just gonna mat these all up here. We're not popping them up because we're gonna pop up our skeletons. Now, I put everything on here except for the skeletons. I will put the skeletons on once I get it mounted. That was, getting this part done before you do that is easier. So what you're gonna wanna do, you can see where you want it to line up in the center, but then you have to decide how much you want it to pop out. So if you're right here, it's not gonna pop out much. So you go further this way, then it pops in this way. So I determined that I want this to be about a 1/2 inch from this side. So I'm just counting my squares here. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm looking here and here. So I'm about where I want it. So I'm going to just lift this up and try not to move it. And I did. Try not to move it. I'm going to put glue on just about a 1/2 inch piece right here. Now I'm going to come back here. I know it's 5 from the bottom. 5. And that looks about right. I'm just trying to get it as straight as I want it. I mean, you don't have to put it as straight. I mean, it needs to be fairly straight, but you don't have to get that precise. Let that sit for just a second. What you're going to do is bring this over. This is how easy putting this card is together. Put glue on the other side, on the end. Bring this piece straight over, and it's already lined up where you need it. So there's our card. Like I said, you could fold it that way. So this is why I said putting this together, this part first, is much easier than doing this. And it might be easier putting the creatures on, or the skeletons on first, but I didn't do that. So I'm going to grab all these. And this, and I want black dimensionals. And black mini dimensionals. The cat, either have to cut dimensionals apart or use minis. Him and the dog can take a big one, but I felt it easier just to use the minis. And I'm using black because I didn't want white sticking out, you know, but that is just a preference. One in the body, back to a couple little ones. Try to put one here. I think it was right behind. Oh wait, this is where I had to go to this. I needed some really small. These are my minis, and I'm just cutting up really narrow little strips. I need 2 little strips. You can do this with the big ones too. Because I want something on the legs to help hold him down. You could use a little glue if you wanted. Because it's very narrow, even too narrow for a mini. There we go. So we're gonna put him on. I'm gonna put him all right about there. And you could have stuff sticking out the top. It doesn't matter any. You know, you got plenty to do. Happy Halloween. I'm gonna put it about there. I'm gonna put the kitty down here. The little puppy dog. Now we're going to put some other stuff on this page, but we'll come back to it in just a few minutes. So we're going to go build our belly band now. As soon as I scrape something off my desk. There we go. Okay, so we're going to let this all sit for a second. Still folds up like that. Okay. I looked at this, and this is going to be my headstone here. It looked too neat, too tidy. So I grabbed a dauber. You can grab a blending brush, sponge, you know, whatever you want to use. I grabbed Mossy Meadow. And I just went around and just sort of flicked the sides of this. This is a headstone sitting out in the weather. Now the headstones around here get moss and everything else on them. And I'm just lightly doing this across here just to age it a little. I don't want it too pretty. Same thing here, I'm just going around the top. Just smearing just a little bit of ink on here. Just so it doesn't look so pristine. It's a headstone. They're not supposed to be pristine. And looks like my daubers are just sponge, and they do disintegrate over time and usage, and it appears mine is about ready to be replaced. So anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and pop that up on dimensionals, and once again I'm going to use black. You don't have to sponge yours and make it all grimy. Okay, now on my headstone, we're going to put some bats. And this is where we're going to pull these bats back in. Make sure I've got all 6. There's 1, 2, 3. There's that one. Hang on. There's 4. That's why I stuck them in my bowl. 5. So 3 are going to go on here, and 3 are going to go on the card front. So if you take these and pick these up, sometimes you can just do it with your fingernail. Sometimes you could take your piece pick and just peel up, and your little stickers all work. Now I'm going to do this one a little different than the last one. I'm going to put one of these bats up here. Just a little different than where I had it before, but that's okay. That's why you make them different. On the inside of the card, I've got 3 bats. I put one here. Like I said, making stickers out of them is really, and here. Now we're just about done. We're going to make our belly band. But before I close this card up, I want some ghosts. Now you could not do the bats, the black bats, and use the ghosts from here. But there it is. I'm going to put one ghost here. I'm going to put one ghost about here. So that's the inside of our card. I'm going to close this up. Now we'll set this aside for a few minutes until we get our belly band built. Here's the lone piece, 10 by 1.5. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start here right in the center, and I'm just going to gently fold it around. You don't want to score, and you don't want this tight. You can see how thick that is in there. That's why I said it's a extra postage or hand carry. You want to try to keep this fairly straight. And I need to loosen up just a little bit. You just take your fingers and you can get it to where you want it. Just like that. Now I'm going to bring this way and lap it over the top. Either way works. I'm going to put a little glue here. And hold that for just a second. While I'm holding that, our last ghost is going to go right about here on the front of the card. And then our tombstone here, this is where I added this one there, a little different. I want it at an angle, about like that. So I'm looking about where this is. I'm going to put in 3 right on here. If I put them on the belly band, then I know that I cannot, accidentally stick them. And then I just move this so it covers where I want it. So that is our card. Belly band slides off. Card opens up. All your little friends are inside. Right on the back. And you just give it a little push. Stands up very nicely. Like I said, you don't have to do the front and back. So you could present the card this way. All you need to do is make sure that you line this up and you do not exceed 4 1/4 inches. Actually, I'd stay at 1/4. So you could come out quite a bit further, about another 3/4 of an inch this way. So you'd be gluing it on over here. And as long as you stay inside the width to fit in your envelope, you're fine. But I wanted mine this style. So anyhow, thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate that. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. If you have any questions, send me an email. Visit my online store. And I will see you on Wednesday. I guarantee you next Wednesdays will not be as long as this video. But thank you for joining me. Goodbye.